All right, Ryan.
Yes, sir.
Ryan, where'd you grow up? Where are you from originally?
Where am I from originally? I was born in Chicago, Illinois. I was raised in Florida. My whole life, South Florida, Pompano Beach.
And tell me about your family growing up. You had mom and dad?
Yeah, I had my mom and dad. They were together for about, I don't know, a little less than half my life. It was a very abusive situation as far as I can remember. Me and my mother took the brunt of the abuse. The other children really didn't. They know about it. They didn't really get to see too much of it. Me and my mom kind of protected them. You know what I mean? Away from that, I'm the oldest in my family. You know what I mean? Out of all the children, so you know what I mean. Basically, I went through everything first and kind of protected them.
How would you describe your childhood?
My childhood, I think that I really didn't have much of a childhood. Like I didn't watch TV. I didn't get to watch movies. I didn't really play with friends and, you know, after school and stuff like that. It was always, I was terrified of my father for the most part. You know, I remember not wanting him to come home, but yet I loved him to death. You know what I mean? By the way, he just passed away like 7 months ago, so it was kind of crazy. But that and my sister was my best friend. You know, the oldest of my two sisters was my best friend. My mom has really always been a lying, conniving person. You know what I mean? As far as I can remember, she's been lying to my father, and that's, you know, I found out later on in life a lot of the abuse came from the lying and my dad not being able to handle it. He always went overseas to Hong Kong, selling bootleg clothes for my grandfather. They ended up getting arrested and sued by Levi Strauss and Reebok and Nike for millions of dollars, and it put my whole family into a hole that we haven't been out of since. You know what I mean? And my grandpa just passed away, finally. So, but yeah, man, and he passed away in prison. You know what I mean? At 88 years old, it was kind of insane. My two grandmothers are awesome. They're loving, they're caring, they're God-fearing women. You know what I mean? My family is pretty much a God-fearing family. You know what I mean? But around the time my parents got divorced, I got kicked out of the house, and for threatening the guy who ended up becoming my stepfather. You know, I seen him in the bed with my mom, and it didn't set right. You know what I mean? So I tried to shoot him, and well, I got kicked out.
At what age?
Huh?
What age? How old were you?
I was 12. The only friend I had was I had a friend named Gladys, man. I haven't seen her in a long time, but Gladys was also kicked out of her house at the same age, and she was involved with some gang members down in Miami, Florida. And that was my new family. You know what I mean? I became a part of that gang, and I got shot. You know, I got stabbed. Our house got burnt down one time. Any bad story you can think of, you know, coming with the gang life, you know, I was there. I did it. It happened to me. You know, I got my first charge when I was like 13 years old, and I've been getting arrested ever since. I think it was like 40-something felonies I caught before I was 18. Went to a boot camp that was supposed to save my life, like from me having to go do years in prison as a juvenile. So they gave me an option to go to this level 10, fully hands-on boot camp, meaning they are allowed to beat your ass. You know what I mean? And they did. And it was probably the worst experience. One of the worst experiences of my life. Definitely one of the worst experiences of my juvenile life, because I didn't know where I was going. My dad tricked me. I thought I was going to work. You know what I mean? And he pulled up and he was like, well, since I can't get you straightened up, son, and you're going to be living here. You know what I mean? And so I was supposed to get out in a year, and I was there for almost 2 years. You know what I mean? Cutting up, fighting, running into other people that claimed other gangs, and, you know, through all that bull crap.
How far did you go in school?
Huh?
How far did you go in school?
I graduated college.
You did?
I have graduated college. In that boot camp that I was at, I went to, they couldn't find I was in a private school for bad kids before I went to that boot camp, before I got locked up in that boot camp.
So conventional school, how far did you go?
9th grade before I got locked up.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
And then you did like GED?
No. When I went there, they couldn't find out my transcripts, so when they gave me a placement test, I scored out halfway through 11th grade. And that was just, I don't know, I've always kind of been academically all right, like without even studying. Just as long as somebody talks about it, I'll hear it, I'll take it in and put it to use. But yeah, that was kind of funny because I ended up graduating high school from Vero Beach High School a year early at 17 years old. You know what I mean? And it was pretty crazy how that happened. But yeah, I walked it, cap and gown, I walked the stage. You know what I mean? No GED, it was high school diploma.
And you went to college.
And then I went to Florida Atlantic University after that.
What were you looking to do with your life?
I did not go there. Let's say I didn't go there on my own will. I went there because somebody wanted me to take a class, basically so they could utilize me in their company, you know, and it was my father. And I took a construction project coordination class, and I got my business management degree. You know, I got a BA. And I'll tell you like this, I hated it. I was so cool that I graduated college. I was really cool with that, but he stopped me from going to the school that I wanted to go to for what I wanted to go to it for, in order to like help his dreams come true. And like I resented him a lot for that. You know, I don't like construction, not one bit, but I know everything about it, like back of my hand. You know what I mean? I could run a whole site, build a hotel for you, whatever. But I hate it. You know what I mean? I wouldn't want to do it. So nevertheless, I graduated salutatorian in my class, not valedictorian, but salutatorian. It's like second highest in class. And I only did that because it was a challenge to me. So I was like, you know what? Even if I don't like this, I'm still gonna try to be the best. You know what I mean? So I'm a real challenging type of person. You know what I mean? I like to compete. You know what I mean? And when I compete, I like to win. You know, every time, type of stuff. So like, you know, that wave of college. You know, when I graduated, it was like dead right there. And except I did use what I learned as far as contracts and business contracts. I started rewriting contracts for my father's company. I got out of boot camp, I got out of college, then I started, you know, working for my father. I ran my father's company for more than 10 years. You know what I mean? We brought it from, I think his company was like drowning, making like $180,000 a year. As soon as I put in the 5-year contracts, he had like these 2-year contracts for a contract cleaning company. I redid all the contracts and was locking people in them for 5 years. That brought his company up to 1.2 million the first year. You know what I mean? And I was a sales representative. I was also the supervisor. I was on salary full time doing whatever for my father's company. And I specialize in floors, marble, tile, granite, stuff like that. Polyurethane floors, whatever kind of floor you can think of. I could either lay it or refinish it. Also, you know, we get contracts with banks. I clean the banks, you know what I'm saying? And really, I was just a supervisor, you know.
So how'd you end up down here?
Oh, I ended up down here. It's kind of crazy. So after all this stuff with me working with my dad and stuff, you know, I got married to somebody who was my best friend at the time. You know, I loved her since I was a little kid. So long story short, it didn't last long. We had a son named Dominic. He's about to be 18 now, and he's bigger than me. And well, I had him for the first 3 years of his life. Some really bad stuff happened between me and his mother, and then my father got involved, and somehow they betrayed me, and my son got taken from me and given to her. I flipped out. I needed to get up about $10,000 for a lawyer. I did it by any means possible, which was illegal drug trades. And I got arrested. I got set up by somebody that I knew for 15 years, and I went to prison. That was my first adult case. I went to prison for 3 years. And they've been telling my son's lies about me ever since. And in that time, I thought that I would never go back to prison again. I saw some things that you couldn't imagine. You know, I did some things that you couldn't imagine to keep myself safe. You know what I'm saying? But I told you, you know, I got involved with gangs on the street. So when you're in there, you know, Imagine all the gangs, but compressed, compact, and all living in the same area. You know what I mean? So it's like always, the guy you hate's right there all the time. All the time. So, I mean, if you want me to go into like a little bit of the prison stories, I could.
Let's hear it.
Or not, but you said what?
Let's hear it.
Okay.
I just had a guy just before you that told me some pretty horror.
So I had a friend named Brandon. I say, because prison, there's parts of prison that are like fucked up, and there's parts that traumatized me. All right, and like I'm just gonna go with the parts that traumatized me because that's what sticks out. Brandon was 18. This guy named Brandon. I took my little trip up the road with him. You know, we sat next to each other on the bus and got transferred. For some reason, we always kept getting transferred together. So that was my road dog. That was my little homie. He was younger than me. And I could tell that he was green. He didn't know nothing. And, well, this black guy from Miami named Doodoo, fuck Doodoo, well, Doodoo, at that time, Doodoo had been down 22 years and had a life sentence, okay? I mean, he's a big black guy named Doodoo. Why do you think they call him Doodoo? You know what I mean? He likes playing in your doo-doo. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's pretty nasty, and he was giving my friend drugs and shit like that in prison, and he was doing it for free. My homeboy wasn't buying them. He's handing them Xanax bars, which is a notorious, like, rape drug. You know what I mean? Just giving them coffee and everything, never asking for nothing back. And I told my homeboy, this is crazy. I sat down with him the same day, and I said, listen, if you can't see what's going on with Doodoo, I'm going to tell you one time, and if you continue, I'm cutting you off, bro. I can't. You're only as good as the company you keep. I will not keep that type of company near me. So he says, what's going on? I said, okay, so Doodoo, he likes you, man. He's trying to fuck you, bro. Straight up. And I don't know how it makes you feel, but it pisses me off. Makes me feel violated inside and all kinds, and it's not even me. You know what I mean? I was like, bro, you're only 18. You got your whole life ahead of you. You're only doing an 18-month bid, bro. You know what I'm saying? Don't fuck with people like that. You know what I'm saying? If you need some coffee, bro, you need something like that, bro, I got it in the locker. Come get it from me, bro. No strings attached. You don't owe me shit. You know what I mean? Well, same day, you know, that shit went in one ear and out the other, because the same day, not even fucking an hour later, I go to my room, and his room, his cell block was in between my room and the shower. So I get up, I go, I leave, take a shower a little bit later, and as I'm coming back, I smell one of the worstest smells I've ever smelled in my life. And it just happened to be when I was like right about to be at his door, like passing the door. So like as I smelled it and realized where I was standing, I was like, oh no. And I took a step forward and I looked in the room, and there was Brandon, butt naked, face down, passed out with blood and shit all over his bed. All right? Now that right there sent me into a whole different mind frame of life. Like, I had never been the same since. I was never the same person ever since that happened. I've never been the same person. You know, I've never been, something was broke right there. Something got broken in me, you know what I mean? That you can't fix because you can't unsee that shit. You know what I mean? That was at Martin CI in Florida, and the same month I seen a guy's guts fall out of his stomach, man. That shit was nuts. And it was a prison yard, little gang thing. I don't know, he violated amongst his gang. I don't know the whole story, but I saw the whole thing, you know what I mean? And the guy was running for help, and when he fucking finally fell down, he went like this, and his guts kind of were falling out, and he was dead on the yard by about a good 5-10 minutes before anybody even knew, before the helicopter was even called or anything like that. And you know, I remember my father and my sister coming to Vizzo, and they were just looking around, and I hadn't told them nothing. I never told them none of this shit. And they were looking around, and they could kind of see the yard from the visiting park. They were like, man, please come home. Please make it home. Like, are you sure? Are you sure you're okay here? Because, like, I'll make phone calls and get you moved. I said, you will not make no phone calls about me. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? You don't need to call no authorities about me or nothing. I'll be fine. You know what I mean? So, boom. I made it out of prison. You know what I mean? Made it out of prison. I stabbed Doodoo in the face. And it wasn't because of Brandon. It was because he disrespected me in the TV room. He changed the channel. I told him I was watching that. He said, "Well, what the fuck are you gonna do about it, cracker, pussy?" So I said, "Oh, okay. Well, I already know what I got to do about it now." That was my first stabbing in prison. That was the first time I actually put in work in prison. You know what I mean? And I didn't put in work for nobody else. You know, that was myself. It was for myself, for my safety and my respect. You know what I mean? And you know, sadly enough, the only thing I learned from that was how hard you have to hit somebody in order for the thing to go through their skin. You know, and the sound it makes, it pops. It was so different than what I thought it was gonna be. It fucked me up. You know what I mean? It fucked me up, man. Because I'm a nice guy. I don't like to be violent. I just thought it was gonna be like a little, you know, sharp 1-2 thing, and I just leave. But no, it was deeper than that. Anyway, he went to protective custody. I got out of prison eventually. You know what I mean? He never told on me. I got out of prison. The funny thing is, my second bit in prison, guess who walked up on me on the yard? Dude walked up right behind me. He said, "No, I could have killed your ass." He said, "But I like your style and I like how you roll." Turn around, I was like, "Oh shit!" I'm not gonna lie, I was probably terrified inside. I didn't look like it, but I was probably terrified. And so that's second bit in prison, and you know, at this point, I've already been through this divorce with my first wife. My son's growing up, and I'm trying to stay in his life, and it's all turmoil. And now I'm heavy in drug use, and I can't get out of that. I'm trapped in a web where it's like I'm doing drugs because I'm in so much pain, and then I can't. I mean, there's no point not doing them because when I come out of them, my baby mama's still fucking with me, not letting me see my son. My people are still talking shit. There's no point. So the only thing I had to turn to was drugs. You know what I mean? That was my getaway. That was my, you know, my painkiller. So, not to mention, you know, I've been to prison 5 times. I've done 13 and a half years in prison altogether. One of the times I went to, one of the 5 commitments that I have, my 5th commitment was caught while I was already in there. I was doing 2 years and I was 31 days away from going home. I caught 5 more years. It's another stabbing. Guy told me he was gonna kill me. I told him, "Well, thanks for notifying me, buddy." You know what I mean? I was being a smart ass. Dinner time came around. I went out to the chow hall and did what I was supposed to do. You know what I mean? He didn't tell on me, although I did get in a little trouble for it. He didn't tell on me, but I caught 5 more years for it. You know what I mean? So that was that. But in between all this time, I wanted to tell you this. You know, I've been a musician the whole time. You asked me how I got to California. I got to California because when I got out of prison, this last prison bid that I did, I was doing tattoos as a business, you know. I was doing all right in northern Florida. Had a new girlfriend. I had a little bit of a life going on. Not much, but a little something. And like 4 o'clock in the morning, my phone rings, and it's this guy, Jeff, who Billy also knows. Billy also knows this guy. He brought Billy out here. And Jeff says, "Man, got a record label, we got some deals on the table for you right now. There's a plane ticket at the airport for you tomorrow, 12 o'clock in the afternoon. If you fucking miss it, you miss it, bro. It won't be another opportunity." So I said, "Wow." I said, "Well, bro, I got these people who gave me down payments for these tattoos, man. I can't just dip on them and leave like that. You know what I mean?" He's like, "Man, you better, bro, because we're not talking some little petty change. We're not talking $100 here, $50 there. We're talking, we're in the millions, you know? We're talking about a record deal, bro." And I'm like, "Bullshit, man." And he sends me the receipt for my ticket, for my plane ticket. And they flew me first class out here. So I was like, wow, I land in LA, and it's live on my Facebook, me landing in LA. You know what I mean? Coming to see some representatives from Capitol Records. You know what I mean? And, you know, everything, that's how I got out here, okay? Now, Jeff He's a son of a bitch, you know? He's the guy who, he ruined my life. I thought he was giving me a life, but he ruined my life. And, or he helped ruin it. And, you know, but I would never let him try to be my manager. He had what's called, not power of attorney, but yeah, it's like that, conservatorship over your money. Okay, and I had struck a deal with a smaller label for about $500,000, and I just sold them the album outright. You know what I mean? They were gonna pay for all the recording, everything, paid for the housing. I had 490 grand in the bank, and that was it. That was me, and that's how I wanted it. That's the deal I picked, because I was gonna take the $490,000 and make my own label and do my own thing. You know what I mean? Well, Jeff, who's now in prison for 10 years for this, embezzled about $380,000 was my money. When Bank of America froze the account, I called them up like, hey, what's going on? Da, da, da. They tell me what happened, and bam, I'm basically shit out of luck. Until they could find the guy and prosecute him. Now, he just got prosecuted. You know what I mean? He just landed in the federal penitentiary maybe a week ago. You know what I mean? So now I'm supposed to be looking at starting to getting some funds back, but I'm not quite sure. I look at it like it's a lost cause. I'll keep in touch with them, see what what they can do. But you know, so much stuff has happened since I've been to California. So much crazy stuff that like I'm scared to tell people, like, because I don't think they'll believe me. I think they think I'm crazy.
Like what kind of stuff?
Oh man. Okay, so I'm sure you're familiar with man, I so don't want to say this. I'm sure you're familiar with gang stalking?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I thought it was complete total bullshit, right? I was like, you guys are just fucking methed out idiots. And you know, the people telling me about this shit. Well, I had a girlfriend, okay? She ended up calling my phone. It's not a girl I hollered at or nothing. It was a girl that came to me, called my phone. Beautiful, drop-dead, gorgeous bitch out in the valley. She hits my phone up. She says she thanks me for what I'm doing, because every Saturday I would go and I would help the homeless people out at Warner Center Park. And I would bring them fresh clothes, fresh shoes, and a bunch of barbecue and stuff like that. And it was all free for them. You know what I mean? I'd pay for it. It was all free for them. I was selling drugs. I was doing my thing. And that's what I did with some of my proceeds. You know what I mean? And I would take care of the homeless. So this girl's dad was one of those people. And she called me up and told me she wanted to thank me for taking care of her people out here. You know what I mean? I said, all right, you're welcome. And she's like, well, I just wondered, does anybody ever call you up, ask you how you're doing? Do you need anything? I was like, fuck no. She's like, well, I'm calling you up and I'm asking you, are you all right? You need anything? I said, how about some company? And when I met her and I seen who she was, man, Kelsey, you are drop dead gorgeous. She is drop dead gorgeous. She put me on to who gang stalkers were, and honestly, I believe that now she's a part of them. Because she ruined me. You know what I mean? Long story short, I was taking care of her and her 3-week-old child. A few months went by. She gets caught with some meth. I asked the police, is there any way that she could come home with me right now? She said, but they said, well, somebody's got to go in for this. I said, well, it was mine. It's mine. Take me to jail then. Because I have a record. She doesn't have no record. So, you know, they did. They took the cuffs off of her, put them on me, and they took me to jail. And I only need $200 to get out. I told her who to go get the damn money from, and she came back pregnant with his fucking kid. You know? Like, what the fuck? Well, who does that shit? You know what I mean? Who does that? That's the biggest form of betrayal I've ever seen in my life. Like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? So then, when I got out, it was the night before Christmas. It was Christmas Eve, and boom, I knew something was wrong. Whatever. Found out she cheated on me, this, and that. Told her I was going to forgive her. You know what I mean? And basically, she didn't want to be forgiven. You know what I mean? So she's pregnant, and this whole time she thinks, or she's telling me that, you know, this is my baby. Who else could it be? Because where the time frames match, there's no way it could be anybody else's. Well, I went to jail for a year last year. Okay, she had the baby. I got out. She wanted to meet up with me. I met up with her. She's like, well, I didn't bring the baby this time because I wanted to show you, see how you were and stuff like that, and show you a picture first. You know what I mean? But yeah, here's your daughter. Shows me the picture, and I just started laughing my ass off. I was like, what the fuck is this? And she's like, that's your daughter. I'm like, that's not my fucking daughter. That's a Mexican baby. It looks just like Louis. I'm telling you this, you fucked Louis? And she's like, Ryan, I'm so sorry. Da, 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 this is it. On the streets, they call me poet. You know what I mean? But, you know, she's like, I'm so sorry. I meant to tell you and this, and that. And I was just like, oh my God, this is so fucked. I gotta go. Bye. And I got out the car. I haven't seen her since. I've talked to her a couple times. I haven't seen her since. You know what I mean? It's just, she made me. I went from a person who was looked at in the parts of California that I was in as a person of some type of status, just a little bit, you know, to like, there's like a joke, you know? They made me feel like I'm a joke now. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy how it is. And I've been trying to break from her threshold because I fell in love with her. So finally, I did break free of that just recently. And no matter how bad I tried to rekindle my relationship with Kelsey, it just didn't work. It's not gonna work, and I'm glad now it didn't work. I've only had one other relationship since then. It was very, very short.
Where are you staying now?
Huh?
Where you stay now?
I'm staying in an RV, but really, you know, I'm on the streets. You know what I mean? I'm on the streets, trying as hard as I can to get an actual home. You know what I mean? But I got a friend that's allowing me to stay in an RV down here. And then I have a friend in Antelope Valley, which I go to every weekend, and I stay in a really nice RV for the weekend. I really want to move up there. I hate the weather up there, but I want to move up into that. That place is like actual. We'd call that RV a home. You know what I mean?
What's your drug now?
Huh?
What's your drug now?
My drug of choice?
Yes.
Oh man, fentanyl. I use fentanyl. I can't get off of it. I've tried. I can't. And people don't even like me when I'm trying to get off of it. I become very depressed. You're just a down type of person. Like, I just want to get off of it because there's so much to me than that. You know what I mean? There's so much, way more to me than that, than just drugs. And somebody tried to poison me while I was here. I don't know if you've ever seen a portable little water kit. It's like the thing you can get at CVS. They're made of silicone or rubber. And that's why I used to pour my water in so that I could draw it out and shoot up, right? Listen to this. Somebody replaced it with Freon. Okay? Somebody tried to kill me. They replaced it with Freon, and I was shooting this shit for 3 days. Okay? And I noticed that 30 minutes after each shot, I would projectile vomit everywhere. It was horrible. And I was like, what the hell is going on? What the fuck is going on? Finally, after checking, I checked out the dope. I checked out my dope dealer. I checked out everybody that lived with me, everything. Finally, the one thing that I hadn't checked out yet was my water. Checked out the water. I poured it in a cup, and it's like neon green. I was like, oh my God, that looks like Freon. What the hell? I smell it. I was like, oh my God. So I took it to, I called poison control, stuff like that, and they told me to go to the hospital. I took it to the doctor. I said, this is, I've been shooting this on accident. And he told me what it was, and it was Freon, antifreeze. He also told me I should be dead. You know what I mean? Needless to say, I don't use a rig anymore because all my veins are dead because of it. I can't use a needle anymore. You know what I mean? So now I smoke fentanyl. But
what would you say is your biggest regret?
My biggest regret? There's one part that I haven't got to just yet. And this is probably because it's the worst, most deepest, darkest part of my life. And I got remarried before I left Florida. Okay, I neglected to tell you this. In 2014, my wife and my daughter passed away. All right, and I lost it. They died right in front of me. They were killed. They were not fucking nothing else. They were straight up fucking murdered. You know what I'm saying? By the people who are supposed to save you, which is the doctors. That doctor's in jail right now. You know, I won my lawsuit.
How did they die?
Well, my daughter had a blood clot in her heart, and I guess it sent warning signs to my wife. My wife had a seizure. We were in an apartment. Then she had a massive heart attack. She had a massive heart attack. She stopped breathing. I know CPR from being through Marine Corps boot camp and stuff like that. I gave her CPR, brought her back to life, laid her on her side, and told her everything was okay. We'll be there in a minute. So boom. The ambulance took forever to come. They went to the wrong hospital. Then they went to the wrong hospital again, but at least that one had a NICU, which is a nursery for babies, because she was 7.5 months pregnant. I guess the law is any complications after 7 months pregnant, they're taking the baby out immediately within the first 15 minutes of being there, put them in an incubator so they could finish up the growth of the respiratory system, and that'll be that, right? Trust me, I've looked into it. I sued the fuck out of these people. I've looked into it deeply. And, well, they didn't do any of that. They went to the wrong hospital first time, taking their sweet-ass time. Went to the wrong hospital again, but whatever. We'll deal with it because they got a NICU there, and they're supposed to be world-renowned best hospital. You know what I mean? Especially for cardio. You know, bullshit. What ended up happening was they asked me, they told me that I did a good job giving her CPR, and then I saved both my wife and my daughter's life, right? Okay, well, then they asked me for my insurance. And I gave them Obamacare. Gave them my Obamacare card. And their whole demeanor changed. And one of the ladies actually spoke these words and said, Obama doesn't pay none of his bills. So I got scared right off the rip. I was like, Obama, what does that have to do with me? You know what I mean? And her. So we went from, we're going to be in operation in 15 minutes and your daughter's going to be born a day early. Then went from that to, I don't even know where these people are. They haven't even come back in the room yet. And when they finally do come back in the room, they say, uh-oh, the baby's heartbeat's slowing down too much. You got to take her out right now. They take her out. They hand her to me. She dies in my arms. Okay? My newborn daughter died right there in my arms. I watched her take her last breath. And I was fucked. So, piece of me right there got fucking ripped out. And I didn't know what to tell Jesse. I already knew there was a storm coming when Jesse woke up and found this out. So finally she woke up and she asked me, where the baby's at? I told her just going back to sleep, you know? I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to tell her. What am I supposed to tell her? So, she said, Ryan, you better tell me where the fuck my daughter is right now. I said, well, she went home a little early, you know? She just went home early. She's gone. What do you want me to say? And she fucking flipped. She flipped out. And she started telling the doctor how she was gonna sue him and all that shit. And you know, I don't know, man. The doctor what ended up happening was the doctor, after she was threatening the doctor, saying, I'm gonna sue you and this, and that, you fucking piece of shit. You know, I keep telling her, be quiet. She needs to chill. You know what I mean? Her teeth like locked up in front of me, like her jaws locked up while she was flipping out like that, and her lips went pale and she had another seizure. And so I called a doctor and they get her back stable real quick or whatever, and they tell me, you know, because I was legally married to her, They tell me that I gotta sign off on the operation. That she has all of a sudden has internal bleeding in her spleen. I said, how can she have internal bleeding in her spleen? She hasn't done nothing to cause that. They're like, oh, well, you know, sometimes they get hit or bumped. Or I was like, you crazy? You think I wouldn't hit her or bump her? You know what I mean? So what ended up happening was they took her. They said that the spleen was bleeding. They took her in for the operation. They brought her back to me and they said, I'm sorry, I nicked her aorta artery. She's internally bleeding and I can't stop it, and she's only got about a minute left. So, and she heard it. She was awake when he said that. And I was like, what? And this idiot told me it would be too dangerous to go in there and try to singe the artery. I said, you idiot, my whole family works in a hospital. I know all about this shit. All you had to do, if you nicked her aorta artery, number one, why did you sew her back up and bring her to me without singeing it? You know what I mean? Without burning it shut. Why did you do that? You know what I mean? Long story short, a minute and a half later, my wife looked at me in my eyes and she died. She kissed me and died. Right there in fucking Holy Cross fuck ass hospital. You know what I mean? And I felt the life go out of her. I felt the life go out of her, and I snapped. I beat the doctor half to death. I caused a really big scene in that ER. They shut down the whole ICU. They shut down that whole fourth floor of that hospital because they were scared of what I might do, and they locked me in the room with her. And so I laid in the bed with her for about 2 hours and just held her and broke down and cried, you know? And finally they told me that I needed to come on because rigor mortis was about to kick in. And they didn't want me to freak out when I seen that kick in because I might mistake it and think she's still alive. I don't know. Do you know what rigor mortis is?
Not exactly.
When the body starts to move after it's dead, the body will twitch. They'll even sit up sometimes. They're completely dead, but the nerves make the muscles do shit and they'll sit up. You know what I mean? Or fucking move their arm or something. It's called rigor mortis. And so they didn't want me to be around for that because they've seen it traumatize people before. People thinking that they were alive and then basically watching their family member die all over again. You know what I mean? And so yeah. Jessie was the shit, man. That was my wife. That was the best part of my whole life was my wife, my second wife. Yeah. And I named my daughter after my sister. So that was a really bad thing. I don't know. They fucked my sister up. They fucked my whole family up. But my dad got me out of trouble because I hurt that doctor and I hurt some nurses. I hurt a lot of people in the hospital that day. I think there was like 12 felonies they tried to pull up on me. And my dad does some donations to the fucking Broward County Sheriff's Department down in Florida. So I don't know how he did it, but he called the chief of police and he got me out of trouble. You know, and I was able to, I was told that I was able to go say goodbye to my wife one last time and I had to leave the hospital right then and there. So the one thing I said to him is I'm not going to leave until I call I got a problem. I have my own coroner come and pick her up. Because I don't trust none of you guys. And guess what? Autopsy reads that there was nothing wrong with her spleen. And it was never even removed. It was blatant negligent homicide. The doctor straight killed my wife. Made up a story and killed my wife. You know what I mean? Made up a story to perform an operation.
Lawsuit or settlement?
I'm in the middle of it right now. I'm still in the middle of it. And actually, we're like this close. We won. He's able to do an appeal like 3 times or whatever. So he's trying to appeal it, but that guy's going to prison forever. He's going to prison and I'm getting you know, 30%, well, I got to pay 33% of a $32.4 million lawsuit. But fuck the lawsuit. That shit can't bring my family back, you know. Since then, my family's just been slowly falling apart. Like, now I'm on my own. I'm out here. I haven't seen my family since then. It's 2014. Me and my family are supposed to be like this. I haven't seen them or touched them since then. You know what I mean? So hopefully I can get back to Florida. I'm trying to find the money to take a trip back to Florida, even if it's for 2 or 3 days. I need to go one trip to Florida, one trip to Chicago, so I can see my people. Because I feel like maybe I might never get to see them again, because I never got to see my dad or my grandpa ever again. You know what I mean?
Well, what would you say is the most important lesson you've learned in all of this?
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. I don't know. Honestly, I'm still so confused at why it happened. Well, I could say this. To come, maybe not with that topic right there, but, you know, my whole life, the one thing that complicated my life the most was probably drugs. You know what I mean? You take the drugs out and you take a lot of other problems out. But then again, you might catch somebody. Me, myself, I might have committed suicide if I didn't have the drugs. You know? I've tried a couple times and for some reason it didn't work. You know what I mean? I've done things like crash a Ducati on accident at 82 miles an hour, no helmet, no gear, and I got up with no scratch. That happened here in California. You know what I mean? But like, there's just certain things I can't explain. And the gang stalker thing is like, I lost sight of who is me. I think that my ex was involved in that, and you know, she stole my phone. She locked me out of my Google. She locked me out of my Facebook. She took away every contact that I ever knew, so that any contact that I knew from there on out was only through her. So whatever she told them to do, they did. Cut me off, she cut me off. Do this, they did that. And, you know, I've been jumped out here a couple times. Shit, just a month and a half ago, I got stabbed right up the street at MacArthur Park. You know what I mean? For what reason? I have no idea. You know what I mean? But it's been a wild ride. You know what I mean? And I caught a lot of stripes in prison. You know what I mean? I've already caught all my stripes, man. I've done everything. I've done everything pretty much. If you ask me on, you know, if it was on your mind, have you done this? Did you have to do that? Yeah. I've just never been gay and I've never been a snitch. You know what I'm saying? But all the gangster shit that you think you would have to do, yeah, I had to do it, you know? But my biggest lesson is, I wish I would have never started drugs up again, you know? Wish I probably would have stayed taking my mental health meds.
All right.
You know?
Poet, thank you so much for sharing your story.
All right, man, thank you.
Good luck.